All great movies start with a great script. You want to establish the characters, set the tone, and get the story moving. And in a thriller especially, it's all about being economic with your time to get to this pivotal moment with plenty of time to spare.
Oh shit.
Everything leading up to this moment is carefully placed to set the rest of the story in motion or to establish something that we'll see paid off later on. Even scenes that could otherwise be purely procedural, like siphoning gas, are serving multiple ideas at the same time, telling us that this band is broke without explicitly saying so, while also setting up something that will later be used against them.
Okay. This is good.
And it's this multi-purpose writing that keeps a tight pace without losing anything important. We still get a sense of the characters on the road, sharing laughs and drinks, building that necessary empathy for any of the tension to matter later on, while also addressing the logistical concerns of the story and pushing the characters where they need to go. This is what good, simple writing looks like. It's purposeful, even if you might not catch certain things on the first viewing. But really, the reason I think this kind of writing is so effective is because it doesn't feel like we're being talked down to. The characters don't talk to each other like the audience is listening in. They just talk to each other like real people would.
Are your cousins cool?
Yeah. Don't talk politics, but stick with Daniel. I tag along, but he and his girl are coming here to crash. Got a vacuum and shit.
Now, you might have caught that if you've seen the film a few times, but you couldn't be blamed for missing it. It's a small, seemingly throwaway line, and most of us are probably thinking more about the fact that they're headed to a Nazi bar than we are about Tad vacuuming for his cousin. But eventually, we meet his cousin, and it's his girlfriend that is murdered, the death that sets the rest of the story in motion. What we don't know at this point is that her and Daniel were preparing to leave together, and what we find out even later is that they were bringing some valuable evidence with them to theoretically take down the whole operation.
You were saved us all.
So this one simple line is revealing something vital that we would never be able to notice on our first viewing because we don't have all of the information. But it's essentially hiding this major plot twist in plain sight. And the film hints at this a second time just a couple of minutes later.
You guys look hammered.
One night at Tides will do that to you. And if your girl's gonna be crashing,
Don't mention that.
okay, I was just
No worries whatsoever. Just shut the fuck up about him and me and her.
Drummer?
This is the kind of writing I love because it is subtle. It misdirects you. At first, we think he's just being a little overprotective of his girlfriend, or maybe he's just acting aggressive towards this group of outsiders. But the actual motive here is to protect this secret. So again, it's this idea of serving more than one purpose with every scene, but I also think it's about maintaining that sense of realism by not having characters explain too much just for the audience's sake. We don't need to know about Daniel and Emily's plans at this point, but it's the kind of thing that creates this unexpected moment when we eventually do find out the truth. And it's also what rewards repeat viewings, noticing all of these little details that you didn't catch the first time around, like Sam plugging in her phone, Justin's red laces, or this fence with the sounds of a dog barking in the background. Subtle things that feel inconsequential until they don't. I think there's a tendency for a lot of writers to over-explain, but Green Room is a great example in writing for the characters rather than for the audience, and why that makes for a better script. I've condensed this next sequence a bit, but after Gabe talks to the police, pay attention to the way the information is delivered between the characters.
I need 600 cash.
You just signed out 350.
Somebody's dead. Still gotta keep the books.
What else do you need?
True believer.
How about 2?
What does he need the money for? What are true believers? We're left to sit with these questions while the band is still processing everything, but in just the next scene, we get the answers we were looking for.
Above and beyond, gentlemen. You need me to do it?
Nope. Wouldn't even be the first time.
A lesser film might take the time to explain to us that Gabe answers the phone from the police so they don't get suspicious, and that they have to come up with a real stabbing to distract the cops from the murder that just took place. But why should we need that explained when they can just show us instead? It keeps the pace moving without bogging us down with unnecessary exposition, which makes for a more engaging scene, but it also changes how we perceive these characters, creating the sense that this is just business as usual. It makes them feel intelligent, and that's what makes them scary. Not just the banality of it all and how calmly they approach this situation, but how competent they are at covering up something like this, which tells us this probably isn't their first time. But it wouldn't have had the same effect if we were given too many details up front. It's in that space of ambiguity that creates the tension. We don't know exactly what they're planning when Darcy says no guns or asks about a trespassing sign.
Residents.
God, beware dogs.
That's better.
It's striking that balance between giving us enough information to get an idea of what might be happening without just spelling it all out. And this is important because the film is essentially locking our perspective somewhere in the middle of these opposing sides. We know more than the band, but we don't know everything. And keeping that balance is how we're able to follow along with the preparation of Darcy's gang, but also still understand why the band isn't so quick to accept their already sealed fate. Because nothing is outright confirmed, we can still suspend our disbelief a little bit. Like the band, we find ourselves trying to rationalize any way that they can get out of this situation, even when our better judgment knows that it's already too late. They're witnesses to a crime that happened to take place on top of a secret drug lab, so there was never any chance for them to leave. But if we know that for certain too early on, it would take out a lot of the tension.
We'll give you the gun, but we're gonna keep the ammo.
Fine. Safer for everyone.
There's a reason this scene is such a standout for anyone who's seen the film. Because it's the first time that all of the cards are on the table. It's the culmination of everything that came before. We've seen these characters just living their lives. We see that really they're still just kids chasing a dream on the road and hoping to find some success. But we also see things on the other side. How cold and calculated this gang is, how much shared respect and fear there is for Darcy, the Red Laces and the true believers who will do anything he asks. So when we come to this scene, we feel the absolute desperation from the band to take any chance they have of getting out alive, even when it means handing over their only weapon. And we also have a better understanding of why Darcy isn't just rushing in guns blazing. All of the pieces have been placed for this moment to explode with pure terror, and it is incredibly effective.
They're killing us. Keep the gun! Okay.
But it's this idea of planting certain concepts, maintaining a sense of character, following the logistical steps of a scene without dressing it up too much, and maintaining enough ambiguity to keep us guessing that makes a thriller work. And it's not rocket science, but it is harder than it looks, and why I think Green Room has continued to build this cult following in the years since its release. There are great performances and great direction and cinematography and all of the other elements that can make a film stand out. But I think without such a purposeful and economic script, it wouldn't be half the movie it is. It keeps us on edge the entire time, even in a cat and mouse game where one side has all of the leverage, and that is something worth studying. But that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And also for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I posted an original song recently that I would love for you guys to check out. It's far from perfect and I still have a lot to learn, but music and songwriting have been a passion of mine since I was a teenager. And this is something I've been hoping to do for a very long time. So it would mean a lot to me if you guys gave it a listen, and I would love to know what you think of it. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.